Raider Nation, what's going on? Let's talk about it. Klint Kubiak is officially the Las Vegas Raiders head coach, and he had his introduction press conference, and it went by pretty good. Seemed like he was greeted by a lot of people. That I feel it was pretty much a warm welcome, more welcome than like any other coach I've seen since the Raiders have been in Vegas. It was players there that are active players and players that used to play with the Las Vegas Raiders. So it was good to see. It was a lot of people there. Saw Genty, just everybody, man. It was just a big, big, warm welcome. And I feel like things are different, man. I feel like they're a little bit more happier with this hire here, and I feel like things are different. I don't know about you, but to me it feels like things are going to be a little bit different. I've been a Raider fan my whole life, and I feel like they pretty much got things going in the right direction. It's going to take a little bit of work, obviously, but he talked about basically him having his second interview. He talked about how the franchise of the Las Vegas Raiders is and how historical it is, and how he wants to be a part of that. And we all know a Raiders franchise, man. Everybody knows when they see that logo, you know exactly what it is, what it means, and that's a diehard fan that is wearing that. Especially with with the way the record's been, the way things been trending, to wear this every single day. You got to be a true fan, man. And always got the best clothes too. We always stay dripped up. You know what I'm saying? But let's get to the to the subject here. So Klint Kubiak, you already know they were going to ask about Max Crosby, and they asked him about Max Crosby, and basically he said he saw Max Crosby in the morning. He's like, we had coffee. He said he's the first one here in the morning. Like he said, Max Crosby also mentioned that in his press conference, not his press conference, but his podcast. He was talking about, he's there every day with this whole trading rumors thing. He was like, I'm there every morning, first thing, first one in there getting my workout in, and I'm the last one, pretty much to like leave and whatnot, but he's in there getting his grind on, what I'm saying, doing what he got to do. So, that came up basically, and he said he had coffee with him, and he's like, they shared a morning together. He's like, I'm looking forward to more conversation like that. So we already knew, because we saw last year when Pete Carroll was there, we saw that Max Crosby wasn't attended. So you already kind of knew they were going to ask about this here. And then he talked about his interviewing process, and he talked about, he was happy to get the second interview, and talked about, the cap space that the Raiders had, because it's good to have cap space because you have a little bit of wiggle room. You can do what you want to do, add the pieces that you need. I'm sure he has a plan already, but he was focused on, getting Seattle done. They won the Super Bowl. He had the parade. They're letting him do that, come back. So, his focus was on that. Obviously, the Raiders don't want to be selfish and be like, nah, you can't do that because they won a Super Bowl. It's hard to get those things there, and he's offensive coordinator. Doing his thing, you got to be able to celebrate as well, especially with his family. That's an achievement alone, no matter what part of the coaching staff, whether whatever. I just think that if you're with the team, even traveling, I feel like that's a good thing, to be able to accomplish and be a part of, and they asked him about the number one pick, and I think they were kind of asking for like an answer, right? But he wasn't going to give no answer. You already know they don't want to give any clues of what they're trying to do, what they're looking at. He basically said it's going to be a lot of tape and footage that we're going to be looking at, before we make that choice. Now, I think honestly it's going to be Mendoza, but he obviously is not going to give that answer up, so there's no direction on what is actually going to happen, but I think it's going to be Mendoza, so we'll just have to wait and see. The draft will be coming up in April, but he got to get his staff together as well now too. So he got to get his staff, he got to get his OC, defensive coordinator. I think they fired pretty much like almost all the coaches, like running back coach, quarterback coach. So they got a whole clean slate that they got to work on here, and so we should be seeing some names dropping, some interviews dropping pretty soon here. But I feel like, honestly, like I said, this does feel a little bit different from all the other hires, from like the McDaniels thing, and AP. I like Rich Bisaccia, but I mean, he didn't make it. But the AP, the Pete Carroll thing, we just been going through a lot, and I feel like, honestly, that the staff took their time, with these hires, man. And I honestly do feel different about it. I feel like things are going to be going in the right direction. He's an offensive-minded coach. We got Bowers, which is one of the, pretty much one of the best tight ends. We got Genty. It's a lot of room for improvement. I know we lost Graham, you know what I mean? But it's a lot of room for improvement on this team. It's a young team. I feel like the offense is going to develop, and I feel like the defense will kind of pick up a little bit after. But I feel like, honestly, man, you have to have a good quarterback, a good offensive mind to win games, So I feel like, Mark Davis, he took his time. I feel like he's a little bit happy. Just the way that they greeted him when he came, it was a whole lot more people there than I've seen in the past and previous hires and whatnot. So it seemed like they feel a little bit more happier with this. Plus, Kubiak has a good resume, so it's good. I mean, we just have to sit back and see and wait and see what happens and see what type of pieces of the puzzle they add. And they also asked, Mark Davis about the opposing crowd being there and the fans and whatnot, trying to get that winning culture back. He said he sees it. He knows it's going to take some time. Diehard fans are there. I know the ratio. It's not like Oakland, obviously. We already know that. It's not like LA, you know what I'm saying? But because honestly, look at the town that it's in. It's in Las Vegas. A lot of people travel here. It's a vacation, like, for instance, say like the Bears play here, right? So you looking at the schedule, and if you really go to games, you say, oh man, I can go. Let's go to Vegas, make a trip out of this, plus a game, And with the team traveling, coming from a whole nother state and a whole nother city, you're not going to get Vegas had the Golden Knights. So the Golden Knights was a brand new, fresh team. So you're not going to get people who are not Raider fans to go ahead and jump just because they're here. They're not going to be diehard, Niner fans or diehard Cowboy fans or Vikings. They're not going to be oh, I'm a Raider fan now because they're here. It's not going to happen. So it's a transit town. And he said, honestly, basically, he knows that Allegiant Stadium is pretty much the best stadium in the world, If you look at how the numbers when I looked this up, because there's a lot of reports on a lot of things about the how much is grossed and whatnot and how much the Raiders are worth. Now, Raiders, when they first came here, I think in 2019, 2020 was the first year, but 2019 they were 358 million. Now they're 7.1 billion. You know what I mean? So they've generated a whole huge net worth. You know what I mean? But the fans who are really there and the fans that are loyal are gonna be there and show up. So Raider fans are definitely loyal, and I think things will turn around, man. I'm looking forward to going to the home opener. I know the home opener is usually always the best energy, man. So I hope if you go to games, I hope you go there, man. You got to go to the home opener, man. It was good last year. It's good every year that I go to the home opener. The energy is just crazy. But that's the latest. Like I said, Kubiak could be putting the things in place that he needs to put. We just got to sit back and relax. But honestly, I feel like the Raiders are in the right direction. But go ahead and check out that press conference, man, and go ahead and subscribe. Appreciate you guys, man. Peace, Raiders.